doing a VSR video breakdown of Jack Wadsworth. Like I mentioned in the first one that I did of Bo, we tested these guys about 12 weeks apart. Most everyone tested the first week of November, and everyone tested again at the last week of January. So we were looking at about, I think it's somewhere around like 12 weeks for the tests. So I felt pretty good about that amount of time. And, you know, we just, through the off season, we worked on mechanical stuff. We worked on throwing programs, recovery, letting our bodies kind of heal up from a long year of playing, and upped the implementation of the volume of arm care just to help reinforce that strength and health of the arm. So mobility work, obviously our pre and post routines also. So let's look at his numbers right here, and then we'll get into his delivery stuff. Again, you know, I took about 10 videos over the course of the off season. And I've picked out, you know, depending on the guy, I've picked out maybe 3 to 5 to 6 separate videos that really reinforce the changes that we were going for, so on and so forth. Okay, so either way, looking at his numbers, we had him on November 5th on the mound. I had him at an average of 62.6, and then I had him at a high of 63. Okay, so good there, really good there for his age. And then on his pull downs, I had him at an average of 65 and a high of 67. So that's a pretty normal spread there. You'll see, you know, 2, 3, 4 miles per hour difference on pull downs and that type of stuff. Okay, coming back in January when we tested again, dude had some pretty crazy numbers. Okay, I mean, if you through 12 weeks, realistically, if you gain anything like above 2 to 3 miles per hour, especially when we'd already been working on a lot of the mechanical stuff before, if they're making that type of jump, there's really no way to fake that. I mean, we do a 12 to 15 throw test, and that is to ensure that what we are looking at is the real product. And so I take the average of all those throws, and I take the highest one, obviously, to look at the high. So when we came back, we tested him on the mound again. He was at 66.3, which was a jump of 3.7 miles per hour. So that's crazy. And then when we on his high, we had him at 67, and that was a 4 mile per hour jump there. So pretty wild, man. On his pull downs, we had him at an average of 68.4. So that was up another 3.4. And then his high number, we had him, he actually got into a pretty elite club for his age group and bumped to 70 on his last throw. And so that right there was up 3 miles per hour. Okay. So awesome job by him. I'm going to go in and kind of explain some of the mechanical stuff that we addressed with him. The one thing with Jack is that he is very mechanically sound, as most of my guys are. But there's just a few things that we'll kind of talk about here. I'll explain some of the stuff that we went through to get where we wanted to go. And yeah, let's get into it. All right, so looking at him, as you can see, he's really clean there, really clean. Okay, this is kind of where I want to get to. Once you see where that kind of settles into the ground there, now, I mean, his foot gets down earlier, but where he really settles, you can tell kind of how much he's, and I mean, now I can't complain too much because we are looking at basically a 90-degree angle there. We'll pull up my angle. I mean, that's it. Okay. But basically what we were looking at with him is I could just, when I watched him throw, as good as he is and as good as his stuff is, I was like, man, you're just like, something's like kind of like leaking, you know. It's like I could just tell that power was just kind of not getting used a ton. So, you know, what we've been working on with most guys is driving out here, staying back here, creating the separation through this midsection, and just kind of turning ourselves into a rubber band, just equal and opposite forces working together, and exploding down the mound. So that's kind of where we went with him. Either way, really solid stuff here. Great. I've had them thrown into the wall here, which was kind of close, but you'll see with him, he's got a really, really good front leg stabilization, lead leg blocking. Okay, right here, I'm just going to kind of show some of the stuff that we were going through. These walkthroughs are really awkward stage for these guys, just because I'm making them stop, and we're talking about every bit of the delivery. Now, this is very much an exaggeration of the stuff that we're talking about, but instead of going through an entire delivery motion, trying to do it 50% altogether, I'm literally stopping to them, in real time. He's sitting in here right now while I'm kind of talking to him about, like, all right, this foot's got to go before, this goes, all, whatever it is. Okay. So I'm just showing that that's something that we do. It's a pretty, most of these guys are looking at me in the off season going like, dude, what are you doing to us? So this right here isn't like a great example of what it would look like. I'm just telling him to kind of rock and go and just feel himself get out front. Obviously, I would want more back. I would want that foot to be pushed out earlier. I'd want the shoulder to stay back longer. But the walkthrough is just exactly what it sounds like. It's just to talk about the positioning and make them understand when things should be happening in the delivery. All right, looking at, let's see here. All right, so this was kind of the first time that I let him put it all together, getting closer, or I guess farther into the off season, I guess I should say. Okay. What's the first thing we notice? Okay, we still need a little more push there, but look at the axis of his shoulders. We're there. We're not pulling off here, creating this to come in early. We are letting it stay back there while attempting to get there. Now, this was like I don't even know, maybe a 65% effort, so I mean, I didn't expect it to be the perfect look at the delivery, but I was just, for the first time, we were kind of putting it all back together again. Okay, so great job by him. Great adjustment here. Foot is down, arm is loaded, shoulder axis still intact. Love it. All right. Going into, I think this is his first flat ground here. Okay. I don't even look at some of his other stuff just because everything here is so standard with him. I mean, hips intact, we're good. Okay, what do we notice here? We are so freaking close with that. We need about that with his lower half and still need those shoulders to be like right there. And I mean, look how close he is. But one thing that you'll notice for sure, much better here. Okay. And you can just tell, you can just look at him and say, okay, that's just a more powerful position, so to say. And then this, you can see how that hip gets through. Look at how much more his knee. So from the first video to right now, like I said, he does really good in his lead leg blocking. But you could tell even from that first video and right there, see how that knee's coming back at him as the ball's coming out of his hand? That's what we need. So he's doing that better on flat ground, so that's awesome. Great job, dude. Okay. Let's see, I think the next and last video, this is his test right here. And like I said, man, every single guy that tested this offseason just blew me away. Or tested, after going through all the stuff in the offseason. Just unreal stuff. Oh my gosh. We are so close with that foot. But look at that arm. I mean, look at how retracted his scap is. I mean, that, and you know, we do, all my guys know, we do a ton of scap work, and here's the reason why. That right there, that is just loaded and ready to go. Okay? So when my guys are going like, why are we doing so much scap work? Now you know why. So realistically, what I would want to see with him, I would want to see that hip pushed out a little bit more and that arm staying back. But I mean, look at how long that thing stays behind him. You want to talk about watch his front leg. Look at that thing firming up as the ball's coming out. Gets a little overloaded on the backside and kind of pushes himself forward. But you can tell how much, I mean, the stabilization's got to happen as the ball's coming out. So, I mean, once the ball's gone, whatever, you know, I want my guys to be in a decent fielding, you know, like end up in somewhat of a decent position. But I mean, even me, like after I throw, I fall hard, kind of off the mound. But when I get to release, I'm in a good position. So I guess that's technically all that matters. Boom. Love it, dude. Okay. So anyway, like I said, guy was up a ton, you know, 3 to 4 miles per hour in an off season. That's elite. So great job by this dude. Dude is legit. I'm going to get into grip analysis. He's probably my best guy as far as overall stuff. I mean, he's got a 4-pitch mix already, and he's not even a freshman. I'm keeping him safe on not allowing him to throw like legit breaking stuff yet. But he does throw a cut fastball that I've looked at a ton just to make sure he's not, you know, snapping on it like a slider. But I mean, all 4 of his pitches, 5 technically, 2-seam, 4-seam, cut, change. I guess that would only be 4. There's a reason I know baseball and not math. So, really good job by this guy, man. I'm going to continue to get him up weekly for the video breakdowns, and I'm hoping that I have some game footage of him actually sitting in my inbox that I need to check out. So, all right, like I said, get him up from week to week. All right, thanks.